Welcome all, Boone here from EWPRO. So, getting into the weekly outlook, looking at the DXY on the daily, I'm still not convinced this wave C's down yet, like I've been going on for quite some time. We're looking at a little flat on the lower time frame to get more downside, possibly down to this 100 fib. So I'm not convinced this is the low. H4, we got the 5 down. We got the 5 down here. Then we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I was looking for 3 or 5 up in here for a 333 or 335 complex correction. We got the third one up, so that's fine. And whatever's happening in here, it does look rather bearish, so ideally this low gets broken. There's really no setup on it either way, really. This may turn more complex in here. Like we may get another one up in here as well before we get more downside. Problem is now we do have like 3 down in here. So, like I just mentioned, there is no buy or sell on it. We're within this wave here, like this impulse here in here. So there's really no buy or sell on it at this stage. AU, we're looking for this larger C up, like this A, B, C. Then we've got that larger A, B, C. So I'm looking for more upside. We do have that complex correction completed now, like I mentioned last week. We had that like that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we had 3 down in here. So we had a 333 in here to go. There was a little entry in here, but so that was complete. And as you can see, I'm looking for, I've got it as motive at this stage. It's not looking all that motive though. It may still go a little bit further, but yeah, ideally we get this wave 3 and a wave 4 and a wave 5, and at least goes up and breaks the top on that day, like this top here of this correction, H4 correction. Ideally, that's what happens here, or else it's going to be very difficult to trade if it doesn't. But yeah, we're in a wave 3, so at this stage, you really got to wait for a wave 4 and a wave 5 up. At this stage, it's really just an ABC here. We haven't even got to that 100 fib. So, you have to be careful buying at this particular time. There is no buy or sell on it. GU on the daily looking for more upside as well. We're looking at the A, B, C up to this 100 fib here on the daily. Just looking at this flat here. We had the 5 up, larger correction, and I'm looking for another 5 up or more upside. It's not really giving us much to trade though. We got a nice impulse up in here, a correction, and it tried to go. It didn't go and break the top, so there's we're getting another correction in here. So we get some sort of an A, a B, and a C, and then it goes, and then we get an A, B, C, or it turns motive. So again, this is very difficult to trade at this particular time. I mean, this could be a triangle. This could be a triangle in here in a B wave, like an A, a B, and a C, because we do have like an A, B, C, D, E here. So it is possibly a triangle complete, and we get it, maybe a gap down on Monday open, and then yeah. So yeah, there's really nothing on it to buy or sell. I'm looking for more upside, but there is no buy set up on it. And like I just showed, this can be a triangle at this particular stage, and we get another one down, or it may turn more complex. We may get some sort of we'll get a correction in here, and then we get that A, B, C. If we get an A, B, C down, well, then you can start to look to buy. But at this particular time, because this one here didn't go, there is no bullish setup on it. Yeah. I mean, unless you're just scalping on the very lower time frames, yeah. EU, we're still looking for more upside in here, possibly up to this 100 fib. This one's just about up to that 100 fib before we got the correction. But yeah, very similar to GU. Page 4, we got the 5 up, looking at this larger correction here. Again, this one tried to go and it didn't, so there's something wrong. So we got to be cautious here. This one did go up and break the top with the spike, whereas GU didn't. But yeah, very difficult, because we do have a bear hidden in here as well, so it's very difficult to trade. We've got some sort of impulse here, 3 down, another impulse, so we've got to be very careful. We may get another one down in here before it goes. I am looking for more upside, but EU, I'm pretty much not really, this EU's already just about at the 100 fib, so there's better better instruments to trade than this one here in particular. NU on the daily, we're looking at that A, B, C. Been looking at this correction in here for a very long time. Like I said last week, I haven't got it labeled, but this is a 335 complex correction. We got that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there was a buy set up in here on the lower time frames. So you're either in it or you're not. There's really no, I mean, it's very difficult to get in now. If you didn't get this, if you didn't see this and you didn't get an entry, well, it's going to be very hard to get in, because you'd be already at break even if you did. And we're starting to get bearish divergence here. So, it's going to be hard to get into a buy once it's already gone. So yeah, you're either in it or you're not. And yeah, the daily target, I'm looking at that daily target, so there's quite a bit of room in it. So yeah. GY, looking at this ABC in here on the daily, it didn't get up to that 100 fib, but yeah, pretty much looking for downside. This top of this A wave here has been broken over here. I mean, this is still looking very much bullish, but there is no sell set up on it. It's more bullish still, but it's not something I would like to buy. You could scalp this. It's not a very nice setup. To me, I wouldn't be buying it. I'll be waiting for a sell on it. And this is very risky too, because this is the low here. We sort of did have 1, 2, 3 down, flat here, so that's fine. But this didn't go. Instead, it gave us another 3 down in here, and it's very deep to this wave here. So it may just be a C up, or it may take off, but it's quite risky. When we have these impulse up and we have a deep correction, usually, in my experience, just a C up. So sometimes they do turn motive, but the chances it's just a C up are pretty high, in my opinion. So yeah, you could look for a buy on the lower time frames, but you know, I mean, this will be like an A, a B, a C, or it turns motive and goes and breaks the top. So UI, we're pretty much leaving this alone. Um, like I've gone on about for a long time, this low here wasn't broken over here. So, and whatever's happening in here looks very corrective. So, I'm not looking for buys. I'm pretty much looking for a sell. But this isn't playing nicely, and I mean, whatever's happening in here is corrective. There's nothing bullish about it. There's nothing motive about it. But it's just not giving us any entries when we go down to the lower time frame. To sell, I'm thinking that we'll get one down in here and then another one up with some sort of an A, B, C here, some sort of a large flat in the middle, and then we get like A, B, C before we get more downside, like the larger A, B, C or larger correction. So there's really nothing on this. There's it's just going sideways here. So there's really not much you can do. I'm not sure why, but there's looking at an A, B, C there, and I was thinking that might go. That didn't go. Well, it did go and break the ending point of wave A, but yeah, I mean, I'd be looking for sells, but yeah, again, there's really not much on it. At this particular stage. UCAD, we're waiting for this time factor on the daily, like I've gone over for a long time, and I doubt we will even get that fifth wave up. If I quickly go back to it, I doubt if we'll even get this fifth wave up. I'm looking for that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm waiting for this time factor here. But this wave 4 has gone into the what territory of that wave 2, like I've mentioned many times before. H4 is pretty much playing out how I was looking at it. Not if you go back last week, or the last few weeks, but I'm looking at that. I've got it as an ABC, but I've been saying because this went up to the 123.6, this wave C, looking at it as a WXY, X2, and a Z up, a possible Z up. So this looks bearish here, but you got to be very careful. This can still give us another one up before it goes. Like it's whatever's happening in here is corrective. If you do get a sell set up in here, you could look for it to go and break the low and give you more downside. But yeah, don't be surprised if it shoots up here either, and this is a flat like I've been looking at. The last few weeks, 3, 4, probably a month, we've been looking at this correction here. I'm looking for that time factor. So we're still within that time factor, so we can still get a wave Z up here. So yeah, again, there is no buy set up on it, and we've got bullish divergence on the H1, so there's really no sell on it either. I dare say on the M15, we're getting bullish divergence. So what I'd like to see on the buy is a nice impulse up here, breaking this top, giving us a nice correction in here. And then you could look to buy. You get a correction, and then you look for a buy setup. And if you get a buy setup, well, then you can look to buy. But other than that, there's nothing on it at this particular stage. That's the problem. So USD Swiss franc, we got this running triangle in the middle here for this A, B, C. Still looking for more downside, but this one on the H4, excuse me, may still give us another one up here. I've been looking at this 333 or 335 on the H4 for a very long time. We got 1, 2, 3 up. This is still looking rather bullish. We still can get a wave 5 up here. So again, it's very difficult to trade. I mean, you can see how corrective this looks. It's very difficult to sell this. If you were selling this, you'd be getting cut to pieces. So there is possible that it goes up and gives us a fifth wave up in here, and we get that 335 before we get the downside. Again, there is no bullish setup. For a bullish setup, on the M15, I'd need a bullish, a higher high here, and then a correction, and then a bullish setup on the lower time frames to buy. Until that happened, I can't look for a buy, and I'm not going to look for a sell when we have all this bullish divergence. So again, it's a patience game, waiting. EG on the daily, there's really nothing to see here either. We already have the 5 up. We were looking for these 5 up, and we got it. So now we either get a larger correction and another 5 up, or it comes down and breaks the low. I'm not looking for it to break the low. And this is more of a leading diagonal here, because this wave 4 did come into the territory of this wave 2. So, I can look at it as a leading diagonal. And according to Elliott wave rules, if we get a leading diagonal, usually we get a very deep correction. It can be to 78.6 fib, or even the 90 fib retracement. So you got to be very patient before we look for another long-term buy, for another 5 up on the daily. So that's something to keep in mind, if you didn't know that. Ending and leading diagonals, after we get a leading or ending diagonal, we usually get a deep correction. That's what I'm trying to say. H4, I'd be looking for the sell. This is looking bearish here. We do have 3 up in here, like 1, 2, 3. So that's fine. I mean, this didn't come from the top. The top's over here, but if we're looking at that 4th wave there and a 5th wave, well, I mean, it's not ideal, but, we'll see what happens here if this does fall over. I'd be more interested in a sell than a buy. Even on the H4, we got all this bearish divergence, so it's not the time to be buying. And yeah, at this stage, there really isn't a buy or sell on it. All we got is like 3 up. So, WTI, it's been very difficult, this pair. this instrument to get it right. I am looking for this C down, and then a C up, like for this like A, B, C. The problem is the H4. We've already got 3 down here. I mean, this was looking bearish if you're in the sell. It didn't go as far as I was hoping it would go and break the low. Instead, we got bullish divergence here already. So yeah, again, there's not much to do here. It's more of a buy. You know, if you have a look at this, we got like 1 very deep correction here, 2, 3, 4, with a bull hidden here. So I wouldn't be surprised if that top gets broken, but it's very choppy and corrective looking. So yeah, I'm hoping we still get more downside, but this could really, give us that 5th wave up in here, give us a correction, and then turn motive, because on that H4 we have 3 down with bullish divergence here. So this can go up and break this top, but yeah, I'm really hoping the low gets broken so I can start to load up on that buys for the larger C up, but at this stage it's just not playing the game, is it? Gold, really waiting for this time factor here, like I've gone on for a long time. I'm looking at that 1, 2, 3. Got to need a wave 4 and a trade wave 5 up. It's gone and just about breaking the top here. Like I've mentioned, this one here didn't come down and break this low here, unfortunately. That would have completed the 333 if it had done that. Then I could have looked to buy. I mean, it was bullish in here, to buy it, but it's quite risky. You either took the risk or you didn't. It wasn't the best setup by far, but yeah, it's gone, and yeah. So now, as you can see, I'm still looking at all this as a B wave, and we get an A, B, C down. But yeah, there's no sell set up on it, and there were opportunities to get into the buy. So yeah, you're either on the buy or you're not at this stage. If you're on the buy, just hold it and see how far it goes. You just never know how far this will go, but yeah. Silver has gone as well. This one, I mean, we got the 5 up, larger correction, and we've gone up again. I'm looking at this as the A wave. I really need a B wave and then a C, like trade the C up on the daily, but it's still going. This may be a flat here. We may get like an A. All this is a B, and we get a C down, running or expanding flat in here. Yeah, I mean, I'd be staying out of it at this particular time. I mean, it's still bullish, but once you start to get this bearish divergence and stuff, it starts to get very risky. It's okay for scalping, but longer term, yeah, be careful with the buys. We're right at the top, so it can fall over at any time. Excuse me. Bitcoin daily is very similar to Bitcoin is very similar to silver, rather. Well, it was. It's not so much now, but we got 5 up, larger correction, and we got another wave up. You can see what I'm looking at here. We did get the 5 up in here on the H4. 5 up here. Now, I am looking for a flat here. It didn't quite play out how I was looking at it. I was looking for more upside here. This would have given us a nice opportunity to get into a sell. Like I told the people in my group, I was looking for an A, B, C. It nearly got up to the 100 fib, and there it's already fallen over. So, I would have liked a little bit more upside in here, but sometimes you don't get that opportunity. This could be the start of the top, like the top of Bitcoin, and we get a larger correction. You gotta remember, going back here, we got 5 up, larger correction, another 5 up. We have all this bearish divergence. So, definitely not looking for buys up here, looking for sells. And if you did see this and you got into a sell, well, I'd be holding it for longer term. Yeah. At this stage, there's really nothing you can do. Like, you're either in it or you're not. I mean, this may turn more complex, and this is like an A, B, C here, and then we got an A, a B, a C up. So there is still an opportunity if we do get a nice C up in here, and then like a sell set up on the lower time frames. You can look to sell, and that's quite possible too. It may not just go from here. So if you're not in it already, you'd be looking for, another one up in here for that flat, and then you could look for a sell. As for the buys, I wouldn't be considering buys up at these tops like I mentioned. S&P 500, I just want to show you this for a tick. I don't think I showed you last week, but I mean, it's hard to see, but this is, we got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Larger correction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're in that 5th wave. So, this will come to an end. When this comes to an end, you definitely don't want to be in the buys because this could fall over big time. I mean, when we got these crashes here, well, they called it, the news and that called them crashes, but yeah, we could get a much larger correction than these up the top here now at any time. What triggers it or whatever, we don't know what's going to trigger the larger correction, but something will. So just be very careful. We're getting bearish divergence here on the weekly as well. So, something to consider. You got to be very careful. That's why I've been saying on the daily, um, got to be very careful. We need a correction before we can, we need a larger correction before we can buy. Be very careful up here. We're right at that 123.6, the first target in the wave 5. It may still come up to this 161.8 yet. But either way, be very cautious with your buys at, at this particular time. It can fall over. We're looking at this large flat here. It didn't come down to this 100 fib, but it's going. It looks like another flat here as well, forming, like an A, B, C here. So, you can still scalp it. But I'd be keeping very tight stops because if you get on the wrong side of this and it falls over, and you're in a buy, it could be disaster, Yes, there could be a lot of downside in this S&P 500 in the near future. Well, it may take a year or more before it corrects, but we won't know the exact time of it. But yeah, we know that it's coming. The charts are showing us that it's coming, a big crash or a larger correction. AU 200, I mean, this played out on the weekly as well. If I quickly go to the weekly, this has played out on the weekly. This is like the A, B, and we're getting the C up. So, again, we need a larger correction. For me to buy this, I mean, the daily, we've got a nice impulse up. So what I want to see is a nice correction. And then I can start to, if it does give us a correction, well, then I can start to look for buys. Until that happens, yeah, I'm more interested in a sell. And we may get an opportunity for a sell. As you can see, I've got an arrow there for the group. We're looking at this to sell, and it's already gone, but we had at least an A, B, C here. Oh, got the whole chart up, but you can see here we come from a top. We got bearish divergence, nice impulse down, and we got an A, B, C up. As soon as that happened, we're looking for a sell. So yeah, I'd be looking for a sell. I've only got it as a C down, but this can turn motive. This on the H1, we may get 5 down here. UK, sorry, the FTSE. This is a very similar as well. We've got a high on the daily. We need a correction. So, if you get a sell set up, I'd be more interested in a sell. This one doesn't have the sell set up like that AU200. At this stage, this has a bull hidden in here. So, there really isn't much on this. I think it did. No, see, this one didn't give what AU200 gave a nice sell setup. This one didn't, but yeah. The DAX, this one we were looking for it to go up and break the top with that bull hidden here. So it's done that. This looks like a flat. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get more upside. But yeah, it starts to get risky once you start to get the bearish divergence, and you're right at the top of the market. So you got to be very careful. This could gap down on Mondays, on the opens and that, and you could get a really big gap. And if you're on the wrong side of it, and you take too much risk, it can take your account out. So you got to be very careful. Trading at the top of the market or at the lows of the market selling. But yeah, so there's really not much to see here. We haven't broken this top here. Out of the out of the 4 indices, this one here gave us this flat here. Whereas the others haven't given the correction yet. So yeah. But extremely risky. If you get a buy set up, for a buy setup, I'd be wanting a nice impulse up, a nice correction, and then looking to buy. I'd be getting it to break even as soon as I could. Yeah, I wouldn't be trusting the market up here. But I hope you got something out of this weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.